Hi, thank you for choosing this video to watch. If you've seen my last two videos, you'll know that I like to make wooden cases for my synthesizers. And recently I've been getting into metalwork, so I decided to make a metal case for a synth. So in this video you'll see the whole process of me cutting the metal and welding it and putting the electronics inside. And there'll be an index in the description so you can skip to any part that you want to see especially. I hope you watch the whole thing because I do go into some detail about how this is made. And because there's a lot to cover, I've broken it into two videos. So I'll be mostly focusing on this synthesizer in this video, and I did make two, so in the next video I'll cover that one and the performance. So I hope you enjoy it. Alright, so I just drilled holes in the side and inserted these brackets, and I had been preparing these panels. I don't think I videotaped it, but panels fit right in there. And here's this one like that. So there's the two. And the next thing is to put the electronics in it. And this is my idea for what I'm going to put in. Just an oscillator and filter. Here's the schematic for the filter. You can find it at fluxmonkey.com. And then CV inputs and tune controls for each of them. So that's next. You may be wondering, what kind of knobs is he going to put on these beautiful cases? Look, these are pretty little knobs. I bought these from a store. These are called chicken head knobs. They're like a little chicken's head. But that's not good enough. Are you kidding me? I need to make my own. I made my own. So these are all cast from aluminum patterns. Like I just used this one as a... Nope, that's not the right. Yeah, so I made a mold of this one and I cast it in aluminum. And some of these are pretty gnarly because I didn't know what I was doing at first. Some of them turned out pretty well. These are brass. Oi, that is a heavy knob. Pretty proud of these. But that is the subject of a future video. There's a sneak peek of how I did it coming up after this. Also, there's a link up here, and there's you can wait until the very end of the video and then go down to the description where there will be a link to it also. It's like a little muffin.
Hey, that's okay though. That's as good a part of the singing out.
Until now, when I've made my own modules, I've been able to plug them into someone else's power supply. But since I'm making my own case now, I got to make my own power supply. And I'm not quite there yet. So I bought this kit from AI Synthesis. All I have to do is to provide an AC adapter and create a bus to distribute the power to my components. I'm preparing the oscillator from Look Mum No Computer, and I wanted to make a short comment, just an encouragement to anybody else who follows someone else's stripboard layouts. I have learned that I always make mistakes on everything I do. So to minimize my frustration later and in my mind going to bed blaming the person who designed them for doing it wrong when it was in fact me who put a lead in the wrong hole or just off center or whatever. Now I color code them and I put a little dot where all the leads go, and I make sure that one color is for the components and the other color is for the jumpers. I even draw little lines or where the ICs go, and on the other side I mark out where the voids go. I've also, obviously you can see I have I've numbered it. Some strip boards are numbered across the top and lettered down the sides. This one is not, but on the strip board layout you can't even see it, but they are there. So that's helpful, but just a little suggestion. Here are the electronics that are going to go into the metal box. Basically it's 2 oscillators and 2 filters with a power supply all joined together on a bus. And the bus is made by myself because I was going to just join them all together on one of these strip boards here, and I bought these little connectors to go onto the strip board, but the holes are the wrong distance apart. So I had to make this. So here's a video on the bus board. And now I'm going to show you specifically how it works. Just to show, here's the bus, and the power is coming from here, and it's being distributed to each one of these components. So here, I'll show it. It's a little easier. Each of these pads is a different voltage, so there's a negative, a zero, and a positive for 4 different components, or 4 different elements of the synth. And I just plug this in here, and then this fits right in here, like so. And then I just put the wires in that end. If you plan to use these MTA connectors, which I recommend, I have a correction to make. It's a connection correction. The wires go in the bottom and it's upside down, so it's like that. And you use this little gun here to squish them in. I'll show you. These little connectors are color coded, so these orange ones receive 18 gauge wire. Squish it right in there. And then the wire goes in the top, like that. Pretty slick, huh? And you know, those suckers ain't coming out. When I had it the other way, I stuck in my 22 gauge wires and they just slid right out. So there you go. And this one I'm not sure if I will use. I haven't tried it yet. It's basically the same thing, but it's using the whole board as the ground plane. Oh, here. Look. I got the idea from this fella on the internet, the Electronic C, and I just adapted it to my own use. So, plug it in. Plug, where? There it is. There it is. There's that one. And it's a triangle. And we turn it on. Ha-ha! It's music! And I twist it off and it goes there. That's the filter. Oh, that's it. I've covered Instamorph in a different video, but basically it's this moldable plastic that you can soften in hot water and mold to whatever shape you need. Within about a minute, it'll harden up again. You can see what I'm going to use it for. I've created some slots in this wooden board that I intended for my circuit boards to fit into, but they need just a little more support. So Instamorph, that's what I'm going to use. You can watch as I kind of molded around a sacrificial board here, and watch it harden up pretty quickly. This is not meant to be the base of the case. This is the base of the case, just a piece of wood. So to fasten them together, I'm going to use a T-nut, which is basically a post attached to a washer which has barbs on it, and the post has threads on the inside. So the barbs will stick into this wood here, and bolt will go through. I'm just going to do it like this. Yeah, that won't go anywhere. So instead of using a regular screw from the bottom to hold this up, I'm going to use this T-nut because this is just plywood here, and any screw thread that I put through is just going to damage the wood, and if I take this on and off, as I probably will, it'll just eventually break apart and these won't fit together anymore. So this will ensure that I'll be able to take them off on and off forever and ever and ever and ever. Just making sure all the panels fit into their little slots, and then I'll slip the whole apparatus into the case, make sure that fits, and then take it all apart again because I haven't printed the aluminum panel yet. But that's coming up next. Before I etch words into an aluminum panel that I've painstakingly anodized and polished, I run a test piece on acrylic, which is what you see here. And then I can place the acrylic over the panel and make sure everything is placed just perfectly. What you'll see is that I did make a mistake. I put the word "in" right where a hole is. And you see here a neat way of making those mistakes stand out so I can measure them is just to rub a pencil over them. And move that right over there. And this is what I would be doing even if I didn't have a camera. I'd stick my nose right up against the window and watch the laser make those little sparks as it traces out my words. I love that. And here it is, all finished. It only took a few minutes to etch. Look at that. All the words fit. And here's the case with all the jacks and knobs installed. Please watch part 2 when I'll show you my second case and I'll do a little performance. It'll be quite a bit shorter. Thanks for watching.